Now on to Good Will Hunting. So we're jumping forward pretty far to 1997, so about 4 years. That's not really that far. It's an American drama film directed by Gus Van Sant and starring Robin Williams, Matt Damon, Batfleck, Minnie Driver, and Stellan Skarsgård. Written by Affleck and Damon, with Damon in the title role, the film follows 20-year-old South Boston laborer Will Hunting. An unrecognized genius, as part of a deferred prosecution agreement after assaulting a police officer, becomes a patient of a therapist, Mr. Williams, and studies advanced mathematics with a renowned professor, Skarsgård. Through his therapy sessions, Will reevaluates his relationships with his best friend, Batfleck, his girlfriend, Driver, and himself, facing the significant task of thinking about his future. Just to give you an idea where we stand currently on the Robin Williams filmography timeline, after we have left Mrs. Doubtfire, he'd go on to film Jumanji in 1995, do the third installment of Aladdin, the King of Thieves in 96, a movie we'll be talking about in our archive session, Jack in 96, The Birdcage also in 96, and then we would go right into Good Will Hunting, which was released in 97 with movies such as Flubber, Father's Day, and Deconstructing Harry. So, Good Will Hunting, we'll start with you, Tony, on this. What were your initial thoughts?
This is not a movie that I ever would have expected that I liked, and thankfully I just had decided a couple years ago to go ahead and watch it, because, man, these two, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, they get shit upon by so many people for this movie, and I have no idea why. It's actually quite good for people that are predominantly actors more than anything else. Mm-hmm. And to keep this on a little bit on track with Robin Williams, I had said before that I really like when he plays the serious role, and in this one, probably my favorite out of all of them. He is just a total gem. It's amazing. I don't know how he ended up agreeing to do this movie, how they took these two people that really had no credibility in Hollywood and were able to convince. Skarsgård is one thing, not to downplay him, but to get Skarsgård to do the movie, all right. To get Robin Williams to play a serious role when he's gotten used to doing these comedic roles, maybe that was it, maybe not, I don't know, but they are hugely indebted to Robin Williams for being a part of this movie, because it sells the movie.
Eddie, what were your initial thoughts on Good Will Hunting?
Again, like Dead Poets Society, there was a lot of hype. When this came out in 97, it was the talk of the town. Like, everybody was, well, all the parents were going, this movie, Good Will Hunting, this and that, and it won awards and all. So, yeah, I was a little, it's one of those movies, and like, eventually I'll watch it someday, I guess, I suppose. And then I did. I think about 10 years ago or something, I saw it. And it was, again, I was in that phase where I wanted to discover life and death and all this philosophy and stuff. So, yeah, it struck a chord with me, but not as much as last week when I saw it again. I mean, the production is fine. It's nothing over the top. I'm sure the budget was somewhat capped, but I don't think it shows at all. As far as the directing, it's great. Gus Van Sant's a great director. It's probably not as salient as it should be, because Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were nobodies who wrote the script, and the script is excellent. And I love the whole Boston accent kind of thing, though. I can't even pull it off. It's kind of weird. Like, I really can't fucking. I want to talk like that, but I can't. Like,
got Sharpie on my sweater.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. It's just fucking rad. And what really hit me in the gut was how much, genius or not, it doesn't matter. There are a lot of good people that have a lot of capacity and potential that will sabotage themselves because of shitty psychology or shitty upbringing, whatever. Mm-hmm. And, well, let's talk about that some more, but let's go on to the next question.
Let's give you some rundown facts for the listeners out there, some of the awards and accolades that this movie had received. It was nominated for 9 categories at the 70th Academy Awards. It did win Best Supporting Actor for Robin Williams. It also won Academy Award for Best Writing Original Screenplay for Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. It was nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Matt Damon, Best Supporting Actress, Minnie Driver, Best Song by Elliott Smith, Miss Misery, as well as Original Score by Danny Elfman and Film Editing by Pietro Scalia. At the 55th Golden Globe Awards, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon again won the Golden Globe for Best Screenplay. And Robin Williams was nominated for Supporting Actor. Matt Damon was nominated for Best Actor, and it was nominated for Best Motion Picture of a Drama. And also, it was nominated for several of the AFI lists, but never added to them. More facts about the movie. It was released December 5th, 1997, with a runtime of 126 minutes. The budget was $10 million, and it grossed $225 million. So I'd say it did pretty well. The critical response has been overall okay. The individual moments, not the payoff that makes it so effective, according to Roger Ebert. And Gary Brown says, despite its coarse exterior, Good Will Hunting proves to be rather positive and a motivational experience. Now, as always, what we do with our films, we'll go and take a look at the casting. And we did go through the filmography line of Robin Williams, who was one of the supporting actors in this movie. After leaving Mrs. Doubtfire, he went into a various range of roles where he was doing voice work again for Disney. He was in another children's movie of Jumanji, and then had other movies in between, such as Jack the Birdcage, that were kind of serious and funny at the same time. Good Will Hunting is definitely classified as a drama, and he's a supporting actor in this. So, Tony, we'll start with you. Do you feel that this was an excellent move for Robin to step in, an excellent role for Robin to step into? And what did you feel about the other cast, such as Batfleck and Matt Damon?
Well, as much as he is probably the best part of this entire movie, I don't think that it really served him that much purpose, in comparison especially to Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Mm-hmm. And maybe even Casey Affleck, too, because that started to get Casey Affleck out there. But this was Matt Damon's movie. Williams is the anchor, but this was his star vehicle for Damon to shoot up to the stars. And Ben Affleck to an extent, too. They all do their parts extremely well. And Skarsgård and the other people do, too. I mean, there's not to take away anything from those guys, but Williams didn't get as much out of this as he should have.
Eddie, what was your thoughts on Robin Williams stepping into this role, as well as the other cast, such as Batfleck, Catfleck, Skarsgård, and Minnie Driver? It's a weird name.
About the cast and the performances, it could be that the script was good enough, the dialogues were good enough that I didn't really care about a particular performance. I thought Matt Damon was excellent. But otherwise, the rest was just pretty good. Or, they did their job. And I think that's the intention. Not everything has to be over the top all the time. Sometimes you gotta, sometimes a movie is really like an orchestra. You really gotta know when to keep a certain section quiet and let it pop out only at certain times. And Robin Williams is just, he's really an antagonist. He's the catalyst for Matt Damon for his character, as long as we know the name, Goodwill for good. Wait, what's his name? Will Hunting.
Will Hunting.
Yeah, I knew his name was in the title. It was just Goodwill. Fuck. So obviously, Will Hunting goes through this whole transformation. He finally awakens. He stops lying to himself, saying, I know that, I know all this, but it's not really that big a deal. It is. And who pulls that off? Robin Williams' character. He really shows Will Hunting the way. Just accept who he is and forgive himself or whoever else that he blames for, his life being the way it is. As far as everybody else, they're there to let the pieces fall into place. I don't think there was a single below average performance. Everybody was at least doing what they had to do. And more credits to the director than the writers as well. I mean, as well as the writers.
One interesting note to touch upon here when it comes to this movie and the development of the production. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon originally wrote the screenplay as a thriller about a young man in the rough and tumble streets of South Boston who possesses a superior intelligence and is targeted by the FBI to become a G-Man. Castle Rock Entertainment president at the time, Rob Reiner, later urged them to drop the thriller aspect of the story and to focus on the relationship between Will Hunting and his psychiatrist, Williams. Now, playing devil's advocate, let's replay, keep the same roles and such like that, and we'll start with you, Eddie, this time. When it comes to the script and the way that the movie is presented, and we all know it, do you think this would have worked as a thriller?
It would have been a completely different movie. So basically, you're saying don't make this movie, make another one.
Mm-hmm.
The movie is what it is because of the very specific nuances in the story and the dialogue and the way the events play out. So to say let's change this aspect and make that aspect a reality is to say change the whole damn movie.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I don't think it would have worked. Just answer that briefly.
Tony, your thoughts?
I kind of have to echo the same thing. If they were to make that movie, it might be a good movie. But who's to say it wouldn't just be the Bourne movies?
Mm-hmm.
That is Matt Damon.
Fair enough. Yeah, Matt Damon and Batfleck. Oh, Batfleck. When it comes to Robin Williams and his role here in Good Will Hunting, it's a very serious role. And in fact, part of our intro was a clip pulled right out of it because he's playing a psychiatrist. And doesn't really allow the gateway for too much goofy stuff that we had just spent almost 5 or 6 years dealing with when it came to Robin Williams. As far as dramatic roles for Robin, Tony, we'll start with you. Do you think this was one of his best or no?
If not his best, one of the best, definitely. He is, I said before, he's the linchpin of this movie. He's the reason why the Matt Damon character doesn't become a douchebag. Because there's something about characters that are super smart and perfect at everything, and Damon's a good-looking guy, and he's... I'm not the biggest Minnie Driver fan, but Minnie Driver is presented in a way that she's supposed to be somebody who actually a lot of people are really into. I mean, there's an entire scene devoted to the idea that everybody wants to hit on her. So it's like he gets the girl really easily. He's smart. He's got these loyal friends that never really give him any trouble. And that would get annoying after a while if there wasn't somebody like Robin Williams in this film that was as good of an actor as he is to be able to pull him down and be the guy above him. Mm-hmm. So I think that if this was not his best serious role, then it's got to be up there.
Eddie, same question. Do you feel that this was one of Robin's best drama roles? And, you know, at the time, like I said, he's coming off of almost a 6 or 7 year stint of comedy roles.
Well, this is definitely, I think, the movie that finally got him on the track to doing mostly drama. If memory serves me right, didn't he do Awakening or Awakenings right after this movie?
I believe that was...
Or was that a little earlier?
That was in 1990, where he played Dr. Malcolm Sayer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 1990.
Oops. Okay, never mind. Nevertheless, I know he did quite a few dramatic roles after that. The most significant ones to me were Patch Adams and Bicentennial Man.
Yep.
I mean, I wouldn't say this is one of his best performances per se, but he is solid, and the movie is solid because of it. You know, he really did what he had to do. I really think definitely the movie is great, and he was a part of something great. So I guess it's a good performance.
Okay. For Good Will Hunting, we're going to wrap up and go into a 5th special edition film after this. But of course, like always, what were the high points, low points, and final thoughts of the film? Tony, all you.
Man, low point, Minnie Driver. I said before that she's presented as somebody who everybody would want. but I actually think that she's pretentious as fuck during the movie. And whenever she's on screen, especially that one scene when she's crying, I just kind of like, you can find somebody else better than this, Will. Best high point of this entire movie, It's Not Your Fault. That scene.
Oh, very nice. Eddie, what was your high point, low point, and final thoughts of Good Will Hunting?
Yeah, I agree with Tony on the high point. I thought Matt Damon's performance was phenomenal in that last scene because it becomes very There's a certain claustrophobia when it comes to trying to figure out your psychology. Because sometimes, as obvious as things are, you bury stuff deep inside, and then when you try to bring it out, it just kind of chokes you for some reason. And I thought Matt Damon's performance was absolutely his finest that I've ever seen. Although I haven't seen too many movies with him. But anyways, low point. Did we see tits? No, I'm kidding. I can't really find a low point, man. I like everything about the movie. I like the fact that Kevin Smith and Scott Mosier were involved. They have a small credit. I think they were like assistant producers or something.
Mm-hmm.
Co-executive producer, assistant managers.
Yeah. And Ben Affleck, man, his best movies are always with Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Like I've seen 2 or 3 other movies with him that are all right, where he's okay. Like Paycheck, I thought was pretty good. Yeah, sue me. But honestly, like I think Ben Affleck was born to work with Kevin Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if Kevin Smith is like the catering guy, you know, like it's I think it's the best thing he can do. Casey Affleck was great. And again, I love the Boston accent. I can't get enough of it. It's just what else? And I don't have a problem with Minnie Driver. I thought I'd tap that, man. Tony, would you tap that? I'd tap that.
I wouldn't kick her out of bed, but let me put it this way: I liked the character that was completely pointless and didn't do a single thing out of the backseat of the Friends better than Minnie Driver's character.
There's always one of those guys in every group. Come on.
For sure.
There's always a useless guy, but they're just I don't know. This movie, it struck something personal with me. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying I'm a genius that's misunderstood or anything, but at times, again, it seems that sometimes a lot of people just sabotage themselves, and I think that movie just kind of wakes you up a little more than Carpe Diem.
For sure. Before we close out this segment on our fourth film, Eddie, 1 to 10, what would you give Good Will Hunting?
I'll give it a 9. Honestly, I think it's underrated, and I can't talk crap about it because obviously they're just being biased because they don't like Ben Affleck elsewhere or they don't like Matt Damon for whatever reason. So, yeah.
Tony, 1 to 10?
8.
Very nice. Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, was Good Will Hunting, and seen as such, Robin Williams was such an icon. For Real Movie Club will be doing a 5th movie, and it looks like we're going to get it in on air, which is, yay, awesome. So continue listening. We're going to go into the movie Jack. For those that are listening to our new reestablished YouTube channel, wow!
For now, until they take us down again.
Yeah, we're talking about Robin Williams. Make sure you click the link to go on for our next film, which is Jack, or just let it keep playing through the playlist, because YouTube's much more advanced than I am. On to the next one.